Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage, and we are doing one of our bounty videos. So I went to Detroit and Michigan and was digging around. We went back to get the lift, and that's kind of what the last video was about on all this stuff. I went and scavenged the lift out of the old building, not scavenged, saved the old lift out of there, brought it home, and while we were there, the family was nice enough to say, basically, hey, we're selling the property, they're most likely gonna gut these buildings. Take a look around, and whatever you think you could save out of here, drag the stuff out of there and take it home with you. So that was really awesome of them, and I was able to dig around, and there was some stuff that we found along the way on our trip to Michigan that was really, really crazy and very, very important to the Delorean roadster build. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so I still got the trailer loaded with the lift parts like I talked about in the end of the last video. I'm going to be taking most of this stuff out and having it blasted. So I'm going to be just leaving it right on the trailer and take it over to my buddy Brooke and see if he can clean this stuff up the next time he's running the big blaster. But I want to show you guys this because I didn't take this off yet. I'm going to probably try and get this thing either sold or I'm going to put it in storage for when someday I have a much bigger building. But this is some sort of, we found this in, there was two buildings that the family owned, and this was in the second building next door that we dug around in a little bit, and this is like an old, I don't know if it's, I mean, it's some kind of like speaker or air horn or something, so we don't know if it's like an air raid siren or if it's an, I'm sure somebody could give us a little more information on it. I'll walk around the other side, but it was just too cool. It's made out of metal, so all those little horns that are on it, if you want to call it that, or trumpets, they all are made out of like tin. They're all metal, I believe, and they are really, really cool. So I saw this and I was like, I gotta have this thing, and it actually says right on it, RCA, it's upside down, but RCA Manufacturing and Michigan, and the number on it, which probably translated something. It's got these big connections here that I'm guessing are for like a, like I said, it might be it's an air horn, so maybe it's for the air or something. I'm not quite sure, but it was just too cool. And again, knowing that this stuff was probably just going to get like scrapped essentially, or just would not exist anymore, I had to save the thing. So I grabbed it. It's probably going to be for sale just to somebody that might want it for themselves. So if you're watching this and you might be interested, let me know. I just wanted to save it out of the building because nobody really hardly knew it was there. So got that. I'll take you guys in the shop. That's kind of the big thing. I was outside that I want to really drag inside just to show you guys. So let me walk inside and I'll show you guys all the other stuff we got. All right, so we're getting in the shop. Typical of an unloading day, it's all dreary and crappy out. So I'm gonna first show you guys, before I put you on a tripod, some of the bigger items that we got that were really cool. So we saved these Pexto plates. These are Pexto steak plates that are very heavy. That were in those old workbench, like one of the workbenches had these in them. They were just old, heavy cast steak plates. These are really cool if you're into blacksmithing or you're into metal fab and stuff like that, especially nostalgic or vintage tools, antique tools. These are like a home run. They're great. Everybody wants to have one, so to have two of these is really cool. I'm probably going to get rid of one and maybe keep the other one and build it into a bench someday. I'm not sure, so that's something I'll probably be taking along with me to Carlisle, one of them at the very least. Let's see, other big things. We got this open sign. I showed that in the video. So this open sign, I found first up in the rafters this little stand. And I knew just, you know, from being around this stuff for years, I knew that this stand, I'm gonna try and open it up here. I knew this stand was an old, you know, sidewalk display stand, you know, that would have had a sign hanging on it, but I didn't see the sign. And then as we were digging a little more, we'll get into that in a second. As we were digging into it, we found this sign, and I didn't look it up yet to see the name on it. Come on. Crap. Trying to film and do this with one hand is always tough. All right, there we go. So W. Lloyd Manchester open. So I didn't look up the name to see what it was. Maybe it was somebody who was in the building before the tire shop, not quite sure. But we found this neat old sign with the old homemade, or kind of basic a little stand here. So really cool. I just got it, again, just saving stuff. It's not really like it's anything super rare like a golf sign or a Sinclair sign, but it's just neat. If you have a last name Manchester, it's kind of cool. So this side needs to be cleaned off a little bit. I didn't even wipe it off yet, so I'll probably go over that and clean it up. And again, same thing, I'll probably take that to Carlisle and see if we can find maybe Lloyd's great grandson or something that's there and he wants to buy it. So that's that. Other big thing we got this really neat, heavy, like cast iron or whatever, cast pedestal here. So this, I could tell, was really old. I love these old industrial pedestals. And it's something I'm always looking for them to kind of set up in the shop because it matches the aesthetic, obviously. But it says, I think it's J.G. Blount Co. in Everett, Massachusetts is the name on it. And it's just got really cool feet. Now the building we were in, obviously like all the other buildings, the roof was leaking, so the feet got a little scaly. Same deal on this. I'm not sure yet. I may just clean the feet up and just leave it alone. I may just blast it and redo it and paint it that green again. Haven't decided yet, but I think I'm going to hold on to this, not sell this. I think I'm going to use this. So I found an old J.G. Blount, or Blount, somebody will correct me, Blount, catalog from 1908. And it has this stand in it. And basically this was like a tool holder for a giant lathe. So there would have been like a tool holder that went in here with a cutter, and then it would have spun whatever it was cutting at, I'm guessing wood, that it would have spun. So super cool. I was really psyched to find that because that's just, you don't see that stuff anymore. And during the days of industrial antiques being like through the roof and really crazy, most antique pickers and dealers were like just scavenging all the old buildings, industrial places, finding and stuff like that. So it's cool to find that. I got these neat old, they're plastic, but they're just, again, there was like a crap ton of them, but we thought it was just cool to have them because advertising's always neat, especially automotive. Beat my price and I'll pay you $5. All Tire Co. On your receipt, written proof, we will not be undersold. An address there. So neat old tire signs. Like, again, they're plastic, but they're quite old. So I'm going to be taking these probably to Carlisle and just probably keep one for myself and sell off the rest. That's kind of what I do. I don't need 15 of them. There was a bunch that were already damaged, so we were able to save a few at least. All right, and then I also got this little sign holder here. It's really cool. This would have mounted on probably the side of the building, and then it's like a wrought iron kind of design. I love these old sign holders. They're just so neat. So if you get a sign that doesn't have a stand for it, or you want to kind of make it a little more unique, I think it's really cool to use these. So I've been wanting them. I've been wanting one for a while because I have 2 of these Fomoco parts signs. I have one there and one way over there. I got one of them from my friend Carl when we were picking there. It's one of the couple things that I was able to save for myself. And I was kind of thinking it would be neat to put it on one of these type of stands. So just recently I found 2 of them. This is the second one. So I'm going to put one of those signs on that. So I'm really happy about that. But that's going to stay in the collection. So big things. We got this 32 Roadster rear quarter panel, and when I was up on top of the what was the office that was totally falling in, super sketchy, I saw just this basically like right here, and I knew that that was 32 Roadster. Like I saw that and I was like, that's 32 Roadster. Is that a B pillar out of one? And then as we started digging, we drug it out, and here was a whole quarter. And somebody, obviously it was a little rusty at the bottom. Somebody basically, I think, stole it for patch panels because they cut that bottom piece out, which is a bummer because I could have used that piece. And then they cut out here around the wheel well to, I guess, fix another car. But what's kind of crazy is they make all those patches nowadays. The stuff that's hard to make is this belt line here and the top, around the back here where the top would sit, and then this rear quarter section there. That's the stuff that's really hard to make and you really can't buy from Brookville or any of them. So that was really cool to find. I'm probably going to put that in the archives because who knows when I'm going to come up on like another crappy quarter panel, and maybe I can put together a piece together POS 32 Roadster. Who knows? I already got one that's on the verge of being a POS. So that's that. So this is one of the most important things on why I went to Michigan. Now I went to get the lift, and that was, probably equally as important, but this right here is the hood for the Delorean Roadster. So Jack Delorean Roadster, as we're calling it currently. This car in the old photos that Dave, who is the son of Ron, who owned this car for all those years, he sent me some photos he found of the car, and it had these louvers on the hood, and we were immediately like, oh my god, I need to have that. So I was kind of like bummed at that point, like in the early video when we kind of like put the car together with the fenders and stuff. I was all psyched because I had an original black paint hood and an original black paint grill, and I put it on. I'm like, oh awesome, so cool. And then we saw that it had a louvered hood that was very unique, and I'm like, it just totally killed it for me, and that hood just looked wrong. So luckily through a series of events, I was able to, one of our viewers, Perry, big shout out to Perry, he was friends with a gentleman who bought the 3-window that was on top of the Roadster, and he had bought some parts with the car separately at some point, and in that pile of parts, he got this hood. So we did a trade, and Tom was nice enough to let me trade him that original paint hood for the hood off of my car. So it was, just huge homecoming for me to get this hood and have it in my possession. It's very, very unique. It has these clamshell louvers on it, if you want to call them that are definitely old school louvers. The hood side was, it was a solid hood side that somebody made, and they had it louvered, and then it's probably an original hood top that they had louvered as well. So this is kind of part of the identity of the car, and it just is so amazing that I was able to get this back. So that alone was worth the trip. So thank you to Perry for transporting that to the Gilmore, and thank you to Tom for making that trade and making me a happy young man to have that. So, all right, so we'll get into some of the smalls, but I want to show you the second or third, but second most important thing as far as the Roadster goes, that reason I wanted to go back to the building on top of getting the lift. So I have a total confession to make on this, and I didn't mention it because I didn't want to jinx myself in any of the videos, any of the stuff. But basically, when we were getting the Roadster and we were digging all the parts off of the front of the Roadster, there was basically a piece of plywood with a bunch of parts and bins with hardware, all kinds of stuff, NOS parts, taillights, you name it was there, but there was stuff mixed in for the car that was very specific to it. On the front there, that's where we actually found that old club plaque that was, that Ron was in the club back in the day and is an early, hot rod club plaque from the Detroit area. Underneath that, I forget if it was before or after, I was digging in there and I found a Stuart Warner tack drive, crank tack drive, early crank drive, tack drive for the store water gauges that were in there. So these are pretty rare, very sought after for hot rod guys. And what makes this one, extra special is obviously that it's, for my car. But number two, it has this cast iron bracket on it that's actually on this, and it does have some numbers on it. I can't read it, but this is a store water piece. This bracket right here is definitely early. I have some other ones that have aluminum brackets that were kind of like fabricated that probably were used later on, but this was definitely for the car. In this little bag here was a little spring that has a little hex drive that goes in here and then goes in the crank pulley bolt. So a really cool thing. This is a neat early hot rod piece. So my confession is I lost this. When we were doing all of the digging in the car, we basically had, there was myself and my two Jasons from back home that were helping me at that point, and they were kind of like, as we were going through stuff, they're handing me things saying, good, bad, keep, and we were rushing around trying to get stuff dug out. I found this piece myself, and we had a Tupperware bin that I thought was like our keeper stuff that was important for this car. I thought I put it in there. Somehow I didn't, or I set it down or put it in a milk crate, and it broke and it fell through. So when we unloaded the Roadster back when I first got it, I had a panic attack and I couldn't sleep basically for, it was waking me up in nightmares ever since. I couldn't find this. It was nowhere to be found. I went through every milk crate, every bin, every box, every nook and cranny like 17 times. Nowhere to be found. I lost the tack drive. I was so freaking bummed. So bummed. And I didn't say anything on the channel because I didn't want to, jinx myself. I was like, yeah, maybe it's back in the building. I had texted Dave, who was Ron's son, who had kind of sold me the car, said, hey, I crudely tried to describe the piece, and I knew it was kind of a losing battle. The building was such a mess. How are they going to find that piece in there? Because really, I'm probably one of the few people that would even know what it looks like, other than, some other hardcore hot rod guys. So we went there, and that was one of the things that I told Jason and I told Josh. When Josh showed up, hey, I'm looking for a tack drive. Here's what it looks like. If you see anything that looks like a speedometer cable or something like that, let me know. So I was literally digging with my hands through the dirt and the mud, and I saw this cable sticking up underneath, like half under a tire. It looked like somebody had kicked it because the building was kind of being ransacked, and it kind of like slid underneath some of the junk tires that were laying around. And I pulled it out, and sure enough, here it was, the tack drive for the Roadster. So I was like shouting, jumping up and down. I wasn't even filming at that point, which is kind of a bummer because it probably would have been pretty cool to see, because I was genuinely very excited. So I am so happy to get this piece back. So between this and the hood, it just feels like it's like reuniting this stuff with the car. Nothing makes me happier really than this kind of stuff. We reunite old parts from a hot rod or an old car back with the car. It's just so cool. So got this. That's my rant about that. Super psyched, obviously. I'm like smiling like a stupid idiot. So got that. We're gonna put it with the hood. And I have my little hex drive piece is in here. So we'll keep that. So now we got a little bin here. This is stuff that I literally was like digging out of the dirt. Got some 32 trans mounts that are, the rubber's gone, but they can be blasted and used. Again, the stuff's gonna get scrapped, so I kind of had to save it. So I got those. I'll probably just put these in some Eastwood rust dissolver, or I'll blast them and get them cleaned up and just put away. So some neat stuff. So we found these really cool old safety glasses that are actually like leather, have leather shields on the side. And I think they're super neat. So we found those on the ground. Just cool to have. Who knows, maybe they were somebody's driving glasses. I'm not really sure. So we found that. And one thing, there's a bunch of nuts and bolts in here, but we found a bunch of like Roadster parts. But one thing that's broken on the, or missing rather, on the Roadster is the inside door handles on the car. One of them is missing on the, I can't remember, one of the sides. But I found a broken one on the ground, which I threw in here just in case, right here. And it might be off the car, to be honest, because the car may have the other piece on it. But I found this other one that was like on a, on a piece of an old door. So I found that, which is really cool. I'm gonna try and clean that up and put it on the car, because You can get reproductions, but they don't look the same. So I'm hoping I can just, at least for now, use that. It'll save me a few bucks. Found some dual carb linkage, which may have been off of the car back in the day. Hard to say. It may have been in the trunk or something. It fell out. It's old. Has a little bit of remnants of old chrome on it, but this is just, you know, it was probably on some Stromberg 97s on dual carb intake. I found another one of these. We found one of these in the car when we were cleaning it out recently in one of the videos. But this is, I believe, like a fuel shutoff, probably aircraft style. But I found another one of these in the pile, so you know, definitely grab that stuff just because it's cool to have. Even though we have one for this car, just to get it would be neat. Got a roadster, 32 roadster, little handle for the quarter panel for a rumble seat car, which is neat. Some tie rod pieces. Got this little fender piece that is, I forget, it says Outers. Not sure of the brand. But anyways, this is like a little thing that would go on the edge of your fender or your bumper. That was kind of cool. Again, this is little stuff that I'm literally probably going to sell this kind of stuff at Carlisle or a swap meet or on the IronTrap finds page, just to you know, help fund some of my fuel for the drive. Just little stuff we're saving, bumper bolts, etc., etc. Over here, which I'll flip the camera around, we scavenged a couple of tire signs. These would have had like a wire rack that goes with them. It would have actually held a tire in them. So I grabbed those from up on top of the office. Again, this is like this stupid stuff I bring to Carlisle and sell, or any of the swap meets, and somebody can hang it up in their shop. I have so much crap. I just wanted to save them because, again, they were getting junked. Unfortunately, we didn't get the giant micrometer that was in the original video because it got stolen out of the building, so I missed it. But we did find some measuring devices that were large that I just grabbed just because. I'll just put that in the box probably. Got this old valve tool, probably for a flathead. This is for the valve retainer, valve spring. You put it on and you press it down, and you can knock the clip off. So that was kind of cool. Those are always good to have. I'll probably blast this one up and clean it, and then, you know, send it down the road. We got Jason actually was climbing up on top of the lift in the beginning. You guys may have saw in the last video, and he found another set of 39 taillights that were stashed up in like a set of tires up above. So got a really nice set with the buckets and everything. Lenses are good. So I'm gonna put these in my stash because I like to always have an extra set of these laying around because you know, they're cool to put on all, you know, pretty much any of these cars. They're really cool. And it cost him $3.85 when he bought these originally, which is kind of funny. So there, we got this, I think Josh might have found this, but this really neat old compression tester with a crescent needle. It's got the little gun, and it looks like this piece might be brass, or it's definitely nickeled, and I think it's brass with nickel over it, which is wearing off, nickel plated. But really cool piece. It probably still works if we put a hose on it. So I might keep that around just because it's neat to have some of that stuff. It's kind of fun to do a compression test with an old tool like this. So really neat. And the last couple things I basically got were just some more gas pedal throttle linkage. And then I found another, I got a bunch already, but 32 bumper brackets. We got more of those. So I will probably clean those up and just, you know, keep a, I think I already have a set for myself, but maybe keep a set for myself, sell the rest. So that is kind of like the major stuff that we got other than the lift. I thought it'd be cool to show you guys that, and then obviously talk about the hood and some of those really important pieces that we got for the car that it just makes me so happy to have that stuff. And now I feel like we got the major pieces for the car. I can start like actually working on it and figuring out what we're gonna do, figure out what engine and trans, or figure out what trans was in the car. We're gonna do some swapping around here real soon in another video. And then just get working on it, pull the body off, blast the frame, make it another car, and save another old forgotten hot rod. So thank you guys for following along, listening to me gab about all the neat stuff that I got. If you guys watching this, hopefully in time, we will definitely be at Carlisle. You can find some of these items there. If not, make sure you're following our IronTrap finds page on Instagram. That's where I list sporadically some of the items that we find on these picks that I don't want to keep. we sell them off to basically help fund everything that we're doing here. So thank you guys for following along. Appreciate it. Catch you later.